It's raining. I haven't seen any of that for a while. Hi, I'm Tony, and this is the story of the build of this 31-foot 8-inch Jay Benford designed cruising sailboat. From the lofting of the lines to her emerging from the boat shed to receive her keel, masts and all the other paraphernalia that make up a cruising vessel. Join us on this adventure as we build Tapatya and hopefully set off to test her out as a liveaboard cruising vessel. Oh, this week's been very much about planing the mast. In fact, so very much about it that it's basically the vast majority of what I've done this week. I spent most of my free time in here planing this mast, and it's now in a state of being almost octagonal. There's one or two bits needs taking off just to perfect the octagon, but getting there. And then obviously the final stage after that is to take the corners off the octagons and then round it up, because this is Tapatya's junk rigged, freestanding masts, and they need to be round in section, or at least very close to being round in section. So that's what we're aiming at. And as I said before, they taper from the top of the masthead, down to where it passes through the deck, the partners, and then tapers back down to the foot of the mast. So we've got this double taper, one very long taper down to deck level, a short parallel section where it passes through the deck, and then a sort of reverse taper down to the foot. So, you know, a shape that takes a bit of thought. And last week, you remember, well, the week before, I'd glued up the long lengths with scarf joints, glued those together into one big square section length, 16 by 16 centimeters, beefed that up at the bottom end where the mast is more than 16 centimeter diameter, and that's where we were last week. And the first job this week was to mark out the taper so that I could plane it to a square but with the correct taper. So Karin and I marked that out, a bit of thought, a bit of calculation to get that right. And the next job from there was to plane angles down to the taper marking lines all the way along the length, and then take those down flat, and that's a good way of planing fairly accurately. I've got this 3 meter long, I'll grab it. I've got this 3 meter long level straight edge, which is very useful for this sort of thing. Allows you to eye that up very well. And the work's been done by this trusty skill planer, which has done sterling work, I have to say. It's a fine tool and not very expensive. Now, one thing you might be wondering is why I've decided to go for this method of building a mast. It's obviously a lot of planing, and it has been a lot of planing this week. And the answer to that is that, well, there are various methods, aren't there, to build a round section mast. The bird's mouth is very well known. It builds a hollow mast. But there's a couple of advantages of the solid mast, and that is the glue up is a lot easier. Of course, the disadvantage is you get a load of planing, which with the bird's mouth you have far less, probably even sand the bird's mouth. But one thing that was critical for me was that according to the junk rig Bible, if you like, practical junk rig, a hollow mast needs to be 10% bigger in diameter than a solid mast for the same rig, for the same sail area and boat design. So that was critical for me. As I say, I can make the solid mast, I can have it that little bit smaller. At the end it only works out about 2 centimeters, but that little bit makes a difference, I think. And I see this as being a solid mast, even though I've got that hole up the middle. It's not a very big hole.
Little baby sparrow hiding from the cat next door. And Mama's pretty worried about you. Chirping away.
Then the final job this week was to mark it out and take it down to the octagon, to take the corners of the square off. And you know, it's a fairly simple bit of marking. One flat side of an octagon is half the width of the octagon, so it's just simple enough to mark out. So mark that out and took the corners off to give us the octagon. Then I'm just doing a bit of final tuning on that, a bit of final planing on that, just to make sure it's down to exactly the right dimensions before I start rounding it off. And of course, to make sure that it's an even octagon, which, as you probably noticed at the moment, it isn't quite. I'm nearly there. I've got 2 sides just to work to get the even octagon along the length, and then it should be easy. Basically, then the bulk of the planing's done. It should be easy to take it down to a round from there, we hope. Well, you probably remember last week I glued together, laminated up 2 pieces of G10 to make up a backing plate for the forward cleat that will fit on the foredeck. And it was time to get on with that, to round off the corners, to clean it up, drill it, get that cleat fitted. See if these line up. Oh, clearly does. Yeah. Go through that. Good. Prefer it that way around. Then I need a washer. I'm just going to put the 4 nuts on loose. Perfect length for the bolts. No. Well, if you were facing the front of the boat, port would be left. Go on. Okay. And one little bit. Good. Now we'll do the aft port. Okay, the back one. One little bit. Ready? Ready? Look. Good. All ready? Good. I'm going to have a look at that. That's nice. For those of you who have been following these videos for over the years it is now, will know that there's another boat that I deal with, and that is owned by our daughter Hazel. After she left school, she went in the Navy. I was 4 years in the Navy, and while she was there she saved her pennies, and when she left she had enough. Well, actually slightly before she left she bought herself a boat, a second-hand Freedom 28. It was originally, a cat catch, but it's been converted to junk rig. It had already been converted when she bought it, and she's now underway sailing that. We have done a fair bit of work to it, or a reasonable amount of work to it. The boat was good, in good condition, but she had a few upgrades that she wanted to do, so we've done those. 1 or 2 repairs cropped up along the way, as they do with older boats. But she's now sailing with her sister Elizabeth, as you may well know, and they shoot a bit of video from time to time and send it to me, and there's a little montage of stuff they're doing. They left the Baltic coast of Germany mid-June, around midsummer, 21st I think, and sailed up to the north of the main part of Denmark, and are now working their way through, or enjoying sailing around in Limfjord, which crosses that Jutland section of Denmark from the Baltic through to the North Sea. And what they're doing at the moment is actually waiting for the weather to come good. It's a bit blowy up there. Waiting for the weather to come good to get out and cross the North Sea to England. So they're in the Limfjord and waiting, basically speaking, but enjoying themselves. It looks beautiful up there. Let's have a look.
What did we just do?
We sailed off the anchor.
Woo! New skill unlocked. Advancing to level 2, 3. But yeah. Ta-da! We are awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, just dropped the anchor off the coast of Alghero.
Yeah, East Coast, I think. It's warm.
It's
very warm.
very warm today.
It's
Yeah.
sweaty warm.
Yeah. All right, we will hide in the shade.
Well, I hope you agree that that looks very lovely. And hopefully we'll be out there with Tapatya next summer. Hope to get sailing. Hope to get her sailing. So need to push on meantimes, get these masts built, and obviously start to assemble the whole thing. That's it for this week. Thank you for watching. Give us a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button, please. And we'll be back next time. See you then. Bye.